It's been almost 6 years since the iPhone 7 was released, and even after so many years, a lot of people still use this device. The iPhone 7 has been one of my favorite releases ever, and I used it a lot during this time. These last couple of years, however, this device has aged a lot when it comes to its hardware. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 reasons why the iPhone 7 isn't really worth it anymore in 2022. The first reason is also the biggest one, and it is the battery life. Today's smartphones are equipped with big batteries. Most phones released in 2022 came with a battery capacity around 5000 mAh. The iPhone 7, however, has a small battery at just 1900 mAh, and it was pretty bad even when it first launched. Considering that 99% of those iPhone 7s out there are used, it is safe to assume that their batteries have degraded a lot during this usage. My unit, for example, has only 74 battery health, and it doesn't last me half a day with moderate usage. A battery this low will also affect the performance. Even if you swap a new battery, your unit won't last as some of the cheap devices released these last couple of years. The second reason why the iPhone 7 isn't really worth anymore is the display. This phone has a 4.7-inch display that isn't even 1080p. It has an LCD panel, which is nowhere near as good as OLED. The iPhone SE released in 2022 has also a 4.7-inch display, but the display of that device is brighter and has better colors compared to the one found on the iPhone 7, which is almost unusable outside in daylight. Some people still like this form factor, but for me, and I think for a lot of you watching this video, it will feel extremely outdated. Another reason is the quality of the cameras. The iPhone 7 is equipped with a single 12-megapixel camera and a 7-megapixel front camera. The rear camera is actually not that bad, and during daylight it can take good images, even though the dynamic range isn't as good as newer phones. In low light, this camera becomes unusable, since it has a small sensor and it doesn't support night mode at all. The front camera, on the other hand, is terrible in daylight and in low light. Video, on the other hand, is decent with good stabilization, but in low light even videos become unusable. This one is subjective. On one side, the iPhone 7 is made of aluminum and it always felt premium and light in the hand. On the other side, like I said earlier, most of these devices are used and in bad condition. This reason applies to you if your iPhone is in bad condition. As you can see, my device has a lot of scratches on the display and all over the metal body. Also, the mute switch doesn't work for me anymore, and the rubber plastic that gave this phone an IP rating has almost fallen apart. The last reason why the iPhone 7 isn't worth for me is the audio. Sure, it has stereo speakers, but they aren't as loud, especially the one found on the earpiece is just tiny. If you accidentally block the bottom speaker, you will notice that the sound that comes from the earpiece is muffled. To make things worse, this phone was the first one to get rid of the headphone jack. It started a bad trend followed by every other company. Those were my 5 main complaints I have with this phone in 2022, but the iPhone 7 isn't all bad things. Surprisingly enough, it has actually some good things. Performance is good, even though it might be slower if you have a low battery health. And even though it won't get iOS 16, I am not upset, since it really works amazing with iOS 15. In my opinion, the iPhone 7 in 2022 is only for 2 types of people. First, for your grandparents that only use it for making calls, and second, it is a good phone for children that just want to play games. And even then, the biggest flaw still remains the battery, since if it has under 90% of battery health, no one will be settled with it. If you found this video helpful, feel free to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.